go through this. We might get through chapter 2. I don't know, we'll see how we do with the getting Clinket stuff. First of all, just a little bit on the, got an email today about being nervous about signing these forms, and I understand.
Oh, shit, I forgot this.
If you didn't sign it, I don't think anything terrible is going to happen. If you, like, someday decided to sue me because your image is on the screen for learning Tlingit, then there's something wrong with you. It doesn't bother me if you don't sign it, but I will say that these videos don't get used for promotional materials at all. Sometimes we've had photographers come into class with the idea that we're promoting language learning at UAS. So there are times that we've used images of students for that, but it's really just been to try and get more awareness to our language program. It doesn't make it on T-shirts or anything like that. We don't think there's any fine print that will take your artwork or anything like that. And so, but I totally understand if you're nervous. And if we want to, if you wanted to take certain language out of there, I could do that and give you a different one. So just let me know, and I'm totally okay.
Can I send someone else's? Can I jump on?
Like,
Oh, let's piggyback.
Everyone just.
oh, did anybody have like a? Because there's two on a page. Oh, but they split it.
I can't imagine anyone in witness protection program around here.
Just say,
You know, well, I was on Prince of Wales, and we all bought like oysters from this guy who looked kind of like the Unabomber, and you know, and we just bought. He just always show up selling oysters outside the grocery store, and we all happened to buy them at the same day, so we had like 5 pounds of oysters. It was marvelous. We ate them raw, we barbecued them, we baked them, and then this guy told me a story. He said his family came to visit, and they bought oysters, and he said, "Hey, my parents are here from Minnesota, can I take a picture with you?" And he said, "Well, I'm wanted in 5 states, so no." So, you know, if for whatever, I don't have any ability to blur your face out. You can hide from the camera. You can turn your camera off on the Google Hangout thing. I don't think anybody is scouring this video to see if we're building clocks. Yeah, so anyways, anything on your mind before we get started?
Well, other than just picturing like a guy with a New York accent speaking Klinken somewhere right now.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, you know, good key.
It'd be fun to get all kinds of people speaking Klinken. Anything else? Everybody okay? Any language questions? Anything on your mind?
Oh, other than the nouns, what else were we gotta give you?
Yes, let's talk about this. 5 nouns. Pick 5 nouns. Give them to me by Friday. How about give them to me by the end of tomorrow? It shouldn't be that hard. We have dictionaries available to us in this modern age we live in with our modern Tlingit language. 5 nouns. 3 verbs conjugated any way you want. And there will come a time when you're going to have to do multiple verb modes of a single verb. You could do that if you wanted to. If you want to say, he walked there, he will walk there, he is walking there now. So I would count that as 3 different verbs. That's totally fine. And then one thing that's something else. Particle, some directional business, adjective, adverb. Not a number. It's just not, numbers are, you know, there's really not very many of them. It's kind of cheating.
What if it's like a whole binary?
A whole binary, like play, play. No. And your job here. So your job here is to commit this stuff to memory. There'll be a few times where we do this. It might get longer. I might ask for a couple different things. And we'll practice these, and you're going to commit some of these to memory. I think something that would probably help you is to maybe start thinking of some of the longer writing projects and other types of things we have this semester, and think of things that are going to help you get there. Tie the pieces together if you want, or figure out some sort of theme. I think a theme definitely helps. If your first half is things you find on the beach and ways to talk about them, or things you might see hiking, or I'm thinking of a day of fishing and working on fish, right? And so if you think of them in terms of some related activity, that probably helps, because maybe you can do that activity and then you're using language in that particular activity. If you want to randomly open a dictionary and grab 5 things that are right there, you can, but it seems to me that that's a less effective method when it comes to memorizing and recalling in front of peers. Anybody got any thoughts or questions on that stuff? Okay. Last chance. Ask questions if you got them. We're going to jump into our material now. Now, Koei, this is page 28. And we got on the screen here, we'll keep it in fairly larger letters here. So this is our first question that we've learned how to put together. And so everybody say goose, 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 goose. Sometimes you'll say we afterwards to say sort of like that. Gusu we gao, gusu we guka, gusu we whatever. But the we is not always there, because you would say gusu we, where are you? Gusu ikla, where's your mother? Gusu akhdanayi, where's my money? And you'll punch them. So the we is not, because a lot of people, they hear that we and then they put it into gusu we ikla, which doesn't really, where is that your mother? Right? So that doesn't, you could say, where is that woman who is your mother, and so on and so forth, but you generally wouldn't combine that. So we'll just send this one around the room. There are 5 on my left. Then we go online. I see kuwuch, yenkach kla, tuwushitzin ku, si salah, if I said that correctly, and I believe, is that Audagon? Audagon.
Hello.
Back into the room. Kutrich.
Lance,
That's the way. That's the way.
Sean and I are together in this room.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And if
Oops. Yeah, unmute yourself. I'm sorry. I did that. You guys are muted. Unmute yourself.
Can they do that, or is that only on your side?
They can do that.
It's actually on.
yeah, I just want to say if Colleen wants to join us in the future, we're at the Department of Education First Nation Program Partnerships area.
Yakecha Gunischish. For some reason, we get a bit of an echo on your side. Yenkach class, so we'll try to pay attention to that and see if we can fix it. Otherwise, if you're not talking, I'll end up muting you so that we're not getting the feedback, because I think I sound strange when I hear myself. Yeah, it's great to have people in groups do what's most comfortable for you. But I think working in groups is a great idea, because then we have chances to do some group activities and other things at certain points. So then there are 2 there. Shtokaha Nyenkakla. So we'll try and get into a rhythm. I've named you guys in the order that you're going to go in. I might give you certain things and we'll send it around. So for this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to say Gusu, and you're going to name a noun. Any noun you want to. And then the person to your left will say Yadu. Yadu. So everybody say Yadu.
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 And when you say Yadu, you're usually holding it, it's right here. It means it's right here. So you're going to say Yadu, noun 1, then you will say Gusu, say a different noun, and that person next to you will say Yadu, that noun, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, and I know we've only gone over a few now, but you should have a few, and let's send it around, see how it goes.
Gusu, first noun.
Clink! I should never start with this human being.
Gusu Achim.
Yadu. Sayelaka.
Achim.
Achini.
Achim.
Yadu ehini. Gusu achkisi.
And it does not have to be in this room. You can completely make it up. I don't know if we should be possessing them at this time. I'm not going to recommend it.
Gusu as.
Yadu as. Gusu dush.
Yarudush. Kususik.
Yadusik. Gusu Kahida.
Cool.
Gusu
Yadu Kuhida. Gusu Chashka.
Yankachta. Yaukta away Chashka. Nope. Stokaha.
Yadowe, Dasawe, Chashka.
Chashka.
Oh.
Yeah, away.
Gonna have trouble here too.
Yeah, we hear you. Isatua ach. Isa achke. Can you guys hear us? So you said,
Okay, we're back on.
and now you say gusu, and a So I don't know if we're having some kind of audio difficulties between our White Horse gang number 1. So you said Yadu Chashka, which is correct, Chashka. Isikuke Dasawe Chashka. In Yakutat, they say Chashka for, what is it, cup in English. In other places, you'd say Gukha. So Yankakla, you said Yadu Chashka, then you would say Gusu and name another noun, and Shtokaha would say Yadu, whatever that noun was, and then Gusu, a different noun. Okay? Okay, we'll just skip you guys for now. We'll come back, see if we can fix it. For now, we'll go to Tuwushatsinku. And we'll still use chashka.
Yadu chaska. Gusu dukla.
Okay. Sisala, Yitkoha,
Yadu Dutla. Gusu we disk.
Audegang, Yitkoha. Gusu we dis. Ikshe. Kutrich, Gut.
Yadu this. Gusu Keith.
Yadu Gusuwe cooking. Okay. Those in the room, I'm reminding you to speak loudly. We will now, heidu is not used that often. We'll do the gusu question again, followed by weidu. So now it's not, you're not holding the keat anymore. It's over there.
Gusu Yok.
Yadu.
Like,
Wadu. Wadu. Yak. 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 Gusu. Kuk.
Wedu. Gusu speak.
Wadu's
Speak.
speak. Gusu Gooch.
Wedu Gooch. Gusu Gao.
cool.
I didn't hear the noun.
See, Anathan.
Gusu Gao.
We do Gao. Gusu Kaken.
Yen kakla, tokaha. Any luck? Tuwushatinku guk.
Wedu plow. Gusu yak.
We do Yak. Gusu Ach Kedli.
Possessing again. Guk.
Wadu do Kate.
Sure.
Okay.
Say nice and loud, but I can't hear you.
Wadu do Kate.
Kadely.
Kadely. Yeah. Gusu Digitkia.
Wadu Digikia.
Okay. Sheesh. Sounds like we need to jump ahead and do a little grammar lesson, which is the best. Okay, hold on one second while I open a document. So one of the texts that we're going to shift to after beginning Tlingit, which we'll jump to briefly. Okay, so let's try this one. Okay.
Gray hair. What's the do something? Gray hair.
It's Shashani, is that right? You Shashani. Old head. Is that the nicest term in Klinken? So as far as like ways to study the Tlingit language and how to achieve fluency, people might have their different perspectives on that. For me, I have a certain path in mind I think that works for students. And what I propose that path is is number one, surrounding yourself with the language as much as you can possibly do. Listen to recordings, watch videos, go find language speakers and speak to them and do their dishes and get their groceries and do stuff in exchange for their knowledge and their time. And a lot of them, you know, when I go and talk to elders, sometimes they'll tell me that they're lonely. You know, there was one elder, she said, you know, my dad died 20 years ago, and I hardly ever talk it since then. So really, it just brings them back to a good, healthy place. A lot of times it does. And then as far as what you do with yourself, so nouns you can learn, right? And so we covered that with beginning Tlingit. You're learning the names for these different things. That's what this is called. That's what this is called. That's what this is called. Sometimes that meaning needs a little bit of sort of exploration, like zait could be a number of different things. And so those, you know, you just sort of explore that territory. Some of the names get really long, but when you start to figure out how the language functions, they get easier. Like yuqisquqeq, that's easier if you can break that word down. And you try to balance how much of the grammatical and linguistic side that you're taking on with the cultural side, and just listening and speaking and working on being a fluid speaker and talking about things in concepts that make sense from, you know, a fluent speaker's brain, thinking in Klinken. So we learn nouns. We learn some interjections like ha, la, and ha. We just, all these different things that we can use that communicate things really quickly, and we can start replacing things that we use in English for those things, like right? So when you give your big speech, you're not umming your way through it, which is not speaking Tlingit, speaking English. Then we focus on some of we talk about how nouns are structured, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the trickier nouns. These are ones that have some tougher sounds, or there's a whole bunch of sounds that sound alike, like huat and huat are good examples. You know, one's eagle down, one's a fart. Right? And they're very close as far as how their sounds. And there's several others. Some are more potentially embarrassing than others. Some are just funner than others. And then we talk about how to modify nouns. So we're going to jump right to that section, and we're going to talk about learning some of the rules of Tlingit, which is fun. So when we learn Tlingit, we discover that there's a whole bunch of rules that fall into Tlingit. For example, these example. This is our example noun. We're going to modify this noun. Some of them are not going to fit very well. They're not going to make sense. Okay? Adjectives fall into two categories. Ones that appear before the noun, ones that appear after the noun. The best way to use an adjective in Tlingit is to use it immediately. It should sit right next to the word that it's modifying. So an adjective modifies a noun. So the first one, everybody say ake,
Okay.
ake,
Okay.
ake.
Okay.
This comes from the verb root a, which means good or fine. So you say ake cake. Go ahead.
Okay.
Ake cake.
Okay.
Ake cake.
Okay.
Good dog. Right? So ake means that something is good, right? It would be ake whatever, ake pizza, ake yam, right? And this is just how to use an adjective. You can use verbs in this way as well. You say yakegi cake. That's probably a more common way to handle that, but this is the adjective version. Claim.
Okay.
Claim.
Claim.
Claim. Claim.
Claim.
This means many. Claim cake.
Claim cake.
Claim cake.
Claim cake.
Now in English you would say dog, many, dogs. In Tlingit, you would not have to pluralize that noun. Tlingit. That means many dogs, right? So it doesn't function the same way. And we'll talk about how plurals function. And we'll come back to this after a while, and we'll do some more intensive stuff with this, where you're put on the spot and expected to know. Agu.
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 Agu cake.
Agu cake.
It's kind of weird, but this would be like that dog that was like 100 years ago, right? Or if you were teasing some like really old dog, right? Like, agu cake, right? Now, technically, those are usually things that lived long time ago, because the word means more ancient than old. But if you were teasing and people knew what you were doing, you could use it in that way. You wouldn't want to use this for a person because it's not nice. You can say, well, we'll get to the one how to say old person, and you can tease with that sometimes. No, maybe tell you an example. But examples get me in trouble. Don't share all my examples with the world. Somebody might get mad.
It's only on YouTube.
Strike this from the record, YouTube. Ka,
Ka.
ka,
Ka.
ka,
Ka.
ka cake,
Ka cake.
ka cake,
Ka cake.
ka cake.
Ka cake.
So an example of where you would use this one. Gwash echuniin ritun aitun. Aka zisk awayi satin. Ka zisk aga. Ka zisk away. Guk unt. Right? So if you're hunting and you only shoot the boys, then you might use this. Or if you're describing something, and ka wasus could be a bull, and so this is how you specify, if you know. Yeah. We okay? Questions? Moving on. Kustin.
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 Kustin cake.
Kustin cake.
Kustin cake.
Kustin cake.
So this isn't like a big dog. This is like Clifford the big red dog. Big dog. Okay. This is the octopus that can take a whole village apart, that can pull boats underwater. All right. And it's related. There's this concept like kudzitiat, which means a giant. And it literally means the thing that exists. But there are certain combinations when you put them together in Tlingit, they just have this other meaning. That's just how it works. Tlingit.
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 Tlingit cake.
Tlingit cake.
Tlingit cake.
Tlingit cake.
So why would you say that?
It's a real dog.
Doesn't respond to English commands.
Well, it could be like, yeah, right. That would be the perfect Tlingit dog. So that would be one example. Another example would be to say, that's the type of dog Klinkits had before contact. Right? So you do this with like shak, Tlingit shak, kunz, Tlingit kunz, kag, Tlingit kag. Sometimes there's a possessive pronoun on there, but sometimes there isn't.
Do you know if like anybody like Tlingit either or Simshiam wove robes out of dog hair by any chance? Because
Yes, they did.
Steve Hendrickson was in our Northwest Coast Cultures class last night, and he was talking about like Coast Salish people would weave robes out of dog hair.
Really?
And they raised a breed of dog. They bred a dog specifically for its wool.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they
These dogs don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And the Tlingit bear dog doesn't exist anymore either, so they've been bred out.
Wow. It's wild. Kate's not hanging.
I don't know about like that, but
But yeah, I mean, to make, right, I've seen dog sweaters before.
I saw a bear dog in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
those things look like baboons, except they're like, about 6 feet tall. Yeah.
I saw a book in Seattle about what to do with cat hair. Like this crafting with cat hair. I was like,
Really?
what?
Okay, that's for like
I don't
people with like 80 cats.
Yeah.
Just 80
Did you buy this book?
No.
I'm not judging you, I was just curious.
I could see you showing up and being like, look what I made.
Were they cats before contact in the Clink world?
They were lynx
Mountain
and
cats.
mountain lions.
Yeah.
Right.
No
okay.
domestic like cats.
But to make something like that, all you need was one cat in a black sweater.
Yeah.
I'm pushing the backhand track button. Sheech.
Sheesh.
Sheech.
Sheesh.
Sheech.
Sheesh.
Sheech.
Sheesh.
Sheech cake.
Sheesh cake.
Sheech cake.
Sheesh cake.
If you're looking for a translation of a modern day insult,
Oh.
that does exist. I know some people who use that playfully. I'm not advising you to do so. In Klinken, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to carry the same weight. Like, there's no specific, like you don't say like bitch, when you're talking about a female dog. But this is the same thing. So you'd say sheech, zisk. And you notice it's different than, ka is the exact same ka. It's a homonym as the other ones. And so these are just language sort of things to pay attention to. Shugu.
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 Shugu cake.
Shugu cake.
Shugu cake.
Shugu cake.
So what would that be?
The very first dog that ever
existed. The very first dog that ever existed. And from this came every dog,
Yeah.
right? So
What about like Chishugu? Is that different? Is there a high tone in that?
I think I think they're related. I think they're certainly related. But I don't know why. I don't know why. Then the sh probably comes from the end of something, perhaps. But some of them they break down and they make sense otherwise. Tatgegi.
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 Tatgegi cake.
Tatgegi cake.
I don't know what you said. That was the dog of yesterday. And like, it wouldn't really work for like, because you could say like tatgegi atcha. That's food from yesterday. Don't eat it. But maybe it's still good.
It's probably still
Te.
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 Te cake.
Te cake.
What would that be?
really stubborn dog.
No, it would be literally a stone
A stone
dog.
dog.
Like maybe a dog who was turned to stone, and there was
Oh,
apparently one of those out
Like
there
those
somewhere.
downtown.
Yeah, or it could be a statue of a dog. Te cake.
Or, I do have something about the dog yesterday, though.
Uh-huh.
To like reference that of like a dog that got in the trash or something. That dog from yesterday.
Yeah, right. It could be that, yeah, or it could be the dog that got run over yesterday. That was the last thing.
The dog that was misplaced on the back.
Yishan cake. We're not trying to wish any harm to any dog. No dogs were injured in the making of this class. Klagu.
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 Klagu cake.
Klagu cake.
Very similar to chagu, although chagu would be like, it was like 100 years ago. It was like 50 years ago. That's chagu. Klagu would be like, it was hanging out with Raven, right? It was back when we lived in the interior before we ever came to the coast. That's how Klinken takes care of time. It's in these chunks, right? So chagu could be, recent history, but still a generation or two ago. Kaku is going back into the millennium.
Lance, We were in the interior before we went to the coast.
Yes, that's how the stories go. The way it pieces together in my brain is we were in the inland. Kashkawu, Cyril George said the place was called Shada, around the mountain, residing around the mountain. This is the oldest thing probably in Tlingit memory. And then there's a migration along the Nas River. And then they come to the coast, and they start settling where the Tungus Tlingit were, which is around the Saxman kind of area. Probably there's another language that comes in, another group that comes in who are also probably Nadane, and they introduce tone to the Tlingit. And then at some point, the world begins to flood. People move back inland, or they move up on the mountaintops for quite a long time. When the flood subsides, the Tlingit people come back, this time along the Shkalneek River, where they encounter a glacier. 2 Ducklawady women go under the glacier, and then everybody realizes they can, so they start sending people on these rafts under the glacier. Although a lot of the people say they didn't want to go under the glacier, so they went north and settled in some of the inland communities now, Teslin and Atlin and Carcross. And then groups of them went around to Klukwan, while others came to the coast and started. There was a lot of northward migrations where people start settling in a lot of different villages, ending up in Yakutat. And then there were a couple of southward migrations, and then there were several other, as about 500 years ago, the whole Juneau area is covered in ice, and then that starts to melt, and then people start going up and down the Taku River, and then migrations get much more fluid as transportation gets easier. They get a little bit harder to track, as well as people start to lose the language a little bit and end up thinking a little bit less and less about clans and origins. Not everybody, but generally speaking. And that's it in 2 minutes. It's okay.
Can I ask a quick question on that?
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a lot to explain. So, did they mention why the Ducklawady, the 2 that they sent, were women?
The way it was explained to me one time was there were 2 women. Everybody was stuck. They didn't really know what to do. They've been going for a long time. They get up towards this mountaintop, and they hit this glacier, and everybody's getting distraught and frustrated. And then these 2 women volunteered to go under, and one of them was beyond her childbearing years, because usually you would send a man not because men are brave, but because they're expendable, right? You can make more people with women, and we get our lineage through our mothers, and so that's why the men would go and get killed first, and that's very common, I think, in a lot of indigenous cultures, and so it was unusual to send a woman into a dangerous situation like that, and it was dangerous. And then I heard the other one was younger but couldn't have children, and so they okayed it. And they tied spruce boughs to their head, pointing up, and they said if you feel that spruce bough go down, you duck, because something's going to smash you in the head, right? It's going to be pitch black going under there. So there are no headlamps or anything like that. So. And they made it, and we still have their names, and we still have the 2 songs that are associated with that migration, and that's going into some of those older pieces of Tlingit memory. And there's a lot of other clans who have really old crests that are associated with this era and these migrations, Nanya Adi and Yengedi and lots of others who have a lot of these things that are still there. Tashkanakusha, the Devil's Thumb Mountain. And so you could spend a lot of time enriching yourself with a lot of these clan histories. But the key is You try not to stand up in public. You know, we're in a class, and you know, we could be criticized for sharing this information. The goal is to try and educate, and the language unpacks a lot of this stuff. But if your job was to go tell stories or to somehow do that, you got to be cautious if you're going to go out there and tell these stories to a public, especially if the clan has not asked you to do that.
Is there mention of another population in one of the northward migrations? I heard in passing that they came down to the coasts. One group went south, one group went north, and then in the north they met the Raven people,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I guess, an older something.
Well, the Qanakh Addi seem to be the oldest of the when you hear about them and who was migrating and who was sharing these stories. And the Deshitan are probably come out of there, and the Qakwedi probably come out of there. But you do have other groups. Nekh Addi is a really interesting group because they're not Raven or Eagle, but they're Tlingit.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other clans that were whole other groups of people, like they were maybe Atna, and then they came and they migrated in, and then they became a clan themselves. And then there are others that were reportedly, perhaps Haida, perhaps Simshan, perhaps these other Nadane groups that just sort of came and became Klinken over time.
Because the way I heard it is that in one of our initial migrations to the coast, when Clink came to the coast, there were already people here.
Yeah, and that could be. But I heard when they came back after the flood is when they encountered some of the Simshan people and some others, and they said, no, we were here, and we went back in. And then there was some debates, and they said, okay, there's this place over here, then this place over here, then that, and they described the land. So they let them pass through. And there's other things, too, where certain clans went back to where they were, and there were a different clan there. And they negotiated, and that clan ended up leaving after a generation. And so it's like any history of a people, it's a rich, dynamic thing with migrations going all over the place and clans that are breaking off and becoming other clans. And we'll talk about the general process, and we'll talk about the linguistic process of their clan names and how those clans were named and what that might reveal about the clan and its history, the interconnectedness. These days you do have a little, it's always a sensitive issue, you know, because if you hear it and learn it one way, but somebody from that clan tells it another way, you really shouldn't say anything to them unless you know them really well and you're sure it's not going to embarrass them. And you can phrase it in a way of, well, what do you think of this? I heard this from this place, you know. And if you're comfortable to have those conversations, you can, but you just always got to be careful, and you don't publicly correct people. But if people say something publicly about your clan that you feel is incorrect, consult with your elders on what to do about it. Usually those are things best resolved later when the public event is over. It's been my experience, it's the way that was explained to me, but it might depend on the situation. Okay.
10,000 years of history.
Yeah, I know. It's not easy. Right, so we got a whole semester to do. And then a lot of it's my interpretation of stuff, so if you hear it different, you put it together differently yourself, go for it. You know, I'm always trying to, I have lots of fun. There's old recordings that I've seen where people are talking about this stuff. It's just fascinating. Okay. A talk. 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 So this is 8 is dirty or dirt. There's these really closely related words. 8, ich, ich. They all mean kind of various forms of rubbish, maybe. Like 8 is kind of dirty, ich is garbage, ich is maybe more like lint or dirt. And then ak means to remove something or to have it dwindled down. So this means, literally it would kind of mean not dirty. So we'd say a top cake.
A top cake.
A top cake.
A top cake.
And this would be a rare thing to say, but let's say you have a husky and he likes to roll in disgusting piles of, well, not disgusting, that's wrong, strong piles of rotting fish. And he comes home and he's really happy about the whole thing. Then you wash him and now he's a top cake. But it also means pure, and it usually means pure or clean, particularly.
You can't wash dogs enough to get that steak.
No, right? There's
You would never
it's
do
made
that.
of soup and super strong stuff from Petco. And I think they can get sprayed by dog as well. And it's kind of skunkish. Eka.
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 True, right? Eka cake.
Eka cake.
Eka cake.
Eka cake.
Let's say you were somewhere and somebody could magically turn themselves into a dog and they're trying to trick you. Then you saw another dog. You might say, Eka cake. Oh wait, that's a real dog. Right. And so again, the example doesn't really work terribly well here. Yeast.
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 Yeast cake.
Yeast cake.
New dog. And that would be like, we just got him. Right? That more like, that's not necessarily, it wouldn't work well for young. When it comes to animals, you could call it yuddy. So if it's like a puppy, and then if it starts to get a little bit bigger, you could call it, but it's still kind of floppy in its movements. It could be kutsku, which is adolescent, and then it could just be a cake. Oops. Oh, hold on. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So this second group occurs after the noun. So we had blank cake. Now we're going to have cake blank. And again, some of them are going to be weird. They're not going to work. But this is how you use it. Quat.
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 Cake. Quat.
Cake. Quat.
Cake. Quat.
Cake. Quat.
Now he would literally, like if you had a dog that knew how to roll himself into a ball and roll around on the floor.
Not necessarily.
That is maybe when you would use this.
Pug.
A pug.
What is this really bad?
Like if you would just call him a fat dog, but you might call him quite cake and tease it. Right, to tease like how fat this dog is.
Really bad.
And then if you had this one, well, odd,
Odd.
odd,
Odd.
odd,
Odd.
odd,
Odd.
cake, odd,
Cake. Odd.
cake, odd,
Cake. Odd.
flat dog. Now he's,
Roadkill.
yep, he's Sean Cake. I'm sorry that we did that. Shut,
Shek.
shut,
Shek.
shut,
Shek.
shut.
Shek.
There are times in Clinket where you get fun consonant combinations. This is one of them. Cake, shut,
Cake. Shek.
cake, shut,
Cake. Shek.
cake, shut.
Cake. Shek.
Wouldn't make any sense if he like
Still roadkill.
yeah, right? or if like he had bones that somehow you could bend in different shapes.
Oh, gross.
Like a Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not a real dog.
Oh yeah, like it's like a toy
It's got wires.
stuffed animal for us.
Slinky dog. Well, this is pliable, more not like soft, like you can squish it. This is soft, like you can bend it. Something like that. Suck,
Suck.
suck,
Suck.
suck,
Suck.
suck,
Suck.
cake, suck.
Cake. Suck.
I don't know why you would use this. Maybe you know somebody who's going to go into the transformation machine and they're going to come out as a dog. You say, "Cake sak." You're going to become a dog. But the way that you would use this one is you might say, "Ah, huh, sak." This is my husband to be for a fiance.
What if someone's pregnant?
Well, you would say, I mean, they're going to be, you would say dukat like, and then and talking about pregnancy is it's one of the things in Clinket that you really end up talking around. So you'd say like, it's sitting on her. And that's or she's wearing a baby. And so there's certain things in Clinket that are interesting because there's no actual verb for that. And that's one of them. It ends up with some sort of metaphor. And it's interesting too because it's hard, you can get elders really uncomfortable trying to get them to talk about it sometimes. Usually they were things only talked about around women. It's interesting. Okay. There's a lot of stories. Everybody say icht, 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 icht. Way New Age kusti shite henyo khatangi tashach tuasku tua ashkuch achbotani. Because of like certain New Age things, there's certain words that I don't like to use because they're kind of loaded, like shaman. It's just a difficult word for me at times. Healer, medicine, person. So we'll just say icht, and we'll know what we're talking about. This is somebody who knew how to heal using spiritual methods. And they're in the icht, there's stories about these people. And they usually, a lot of times they'll refer to them as icht saku, because it's the story about how they became a medicine person, which is a very fascinating process in Klinken. Sean. 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 Cake Sean. Cake Sean. That would be the old dog, right? Ka Sean. Shawat Sean. Right. So I was working with an elder. I'll not name the person because this gets me in trouble. And this individual's wife's sister comes to visit, and she does not speak Klinken. He says, "Wasaway Shawat Sean," and she says, "What's that mean?" I said, "What's up, old lady?" And then she got kind of grumpy, and I said, "I didn't say it though." I said, and it's like maybe I shouldn't have translated that, but it's just sort of in my nature to say, "Oh yeah, that's what that means." But it's usually used in. She wasn't seriously angry. They were teasing each other. It was fine. But because yan what? Yan what? Yan what? Atwuskuhu.
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 First one means done growing, which can technically be an adult, but a lot of people use that to refer to elders. And then the second one means knowledgeable thing, person, right? But you can, so use it carefully. Shitsk.
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 Cake. Shitsk.
Cake. Shitsk.
I don't know. This would be like some raw dog meat, but maybe like chad shitsk ye kakwasa sushi, right? So maybe. Okay. Although, I don't know. Take. 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 Cake. Take. It's fun and funny. That's your fat dog right there. But it's not it's not for a person. It's different ways to talk about. Because when you talk about fat for an animal, you're saying that animal is ready to shoot. Right? because when they're fat, they kind of, I mean, prime, is that?
Dog is British.
Well, you know, there are people, there are cultures that they do that kind of thing.
Boiled dog.
Tooch,
Tooch.
tooch,
Tooch.
tooch,
Tooch.
cake, tooch,
Cake. Tooch.
and it makes no sense. Eek,
Teeth.
eek,
Teeth.
eek,
Teeth.
eek,
Teeth.
cake, eek.
Cake. Teeth.
That would probably be rigor mortis, or whatever they call it, right? So, but this, like, eek, you would use to explain for something that you want to specify that it is, that, you know.
So not difficult, but actually.
Yeah, like the substance, like, because the root means frozen. So you'd say, and that means life is hard, but it means it's like a frozen thing. But it also means really like you know, this table is hard, right? So it's interesting the way that the words are put together. Hook,
Hook.
hook,
Hook.
hook,
Hook.
cake, hook.
Cake. Hook.
I don't know.
It's not like if you made dried meat out of
Yeah,
right?
yeah, so that would probably be like, you know, whatever you do, I'm not judging you, but you slice the meat thin, you hang it over your smokehouse.
Hot. Oh, what do you count as like dehydrated dog?
Yeah, but the hook could also mean like just to dry something off as well. They would be to dry by any means. That's really what it means. And so this one, I don't know. Hoina hook. Hoina hook. You need a dry towel.
They use a different.
Because you could say
They use different words for dried fish, isn't it?
there's one hugu, chat, and so now you're using the verb as a process.
Mm-hmm.
The fish that somebody has dried. That's usually, and so if you were to say chat, hook, most people wouldn't know what that really means. And so some of these I'd have to find I haven't seen examples of all of these, and this is one I haven't seen an example. Uwa,
Uwa.
uwa,
Uwa.
uwa,
Uwa.
cake uwa,
Cake. Uwa.
cake uwa.
Cake. Uwa.
There was something here that was not a dog, but that looked like a dog, and it can't be a wolf or coyote because we got words for it. But there's something chichuwa. It's some kind of shark that looks like a porpoise. And so you'll see these built into names sometimes. Yee
Yee.
yee
Yee.
yee
Yee.
cake yee.
Cake. Yee.
Well, maybe you could say ach cake yee. It used to be my dog, but now it's somebody else's dog. That's a much nicer ending for the dog. But this, again, ach yee, or it could be ach shat yee. It's my ex-wife. That's the way those terms come. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
cake, yes.
Cake. Yes.
If they were like golden labs, and they always look like golden labs, but then this one looked like a chocolate lab, then you had some golden streaks in them, and that would be yes is the immature eagle because they're discolored.
It works really good for birds, but not necessarily animals.
Yeah, things that change colors as they grow into their colors. Any questions about that? Okay, so we're going to get technical, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of our story. So the class said we're going to do beginning Klinken review, but it's a big old lie because we got into this thing that's even cooler. Okay, so we're going to talk about the different ways that we code the Tlingit language in order to talk about language phenomena. There's certain things where we apply rules to it. For example, let me see if I can do And I think we've done this before, but we'll do it again. And we have a visiting linguist. Maybe he'll even help us with this exercise. Okay, let me share a different screen with you guys. So this one, let's see, let's make this big enough to read. Make it a better font. Okay, so we've got so we're speaking English here, of course. So we've got these 3 words. Anybody say these 3 words for us?
These 3 words for us.
Douche.
Bus. Okay, so you got cat, dog, and bus. So we're talking about writing, and then we're going to talk about talking. These are 2 different things, right? So if we're going to pluralize, how would we do it for this one? When we're writing.
An S.
For this one, the DOG one.
Z.
Yeah.
Dog.
For this one.
ES.
Essays, right? So then we get these weird rules. So there's a set of rules for writing. There's a set of rules for speaking. When we go to school, we usually learn the rules for writing. We usually learn, and then we learn the rules for speaking, but we learn them usually in a different way, I think, right? So if we were to sort of make a separate category here, what is the sound on the end of cat? It's an S, right? Cats. On the end of dog, it's a Z, right? Dogs. On the end of bus,
SC.
It's a reduced vowel.
it's an easy, right? So yeah, we get this sort of peg vowel put in here, and we get a Z. Why are there 3 different sounds here?
Because English makes no sense.
Oh, English makes sense. Klinken, wait until you see the rules for Klinken. It's going to be just, I mean,
It's actually pretty predictable.
Klinken doesn't make sense when there's like O-U-G-H and other garbage like that.
Because
And
English borrows from a lot
oxen
of different languages in its origins.
geese and stuff. But this
Well,
one
the
is,
orthography was designed before the vowel shift.
Yeah. The writing doesn't make sense. But as far as, forget the writing, the sound system. Why do you make these sounds? Why would you make different sounds for these 3 different words?
Because they roll easier.
Because it depends what the final sound is in the word.
Because we get busy.
It depends on the final sound, right? So if your vocal cords aren't on, you don't turn them on, right? Cat, cats. It's an unvoiced sound. But dog, dogs, because it's awkward to go dogs. And it's awkward to go cats. But you should try. You should just reverse it and just drive yourself crazy and just talk to people. Hey, you see those cats over there?
You see those cats?
See those school buses? Like, just do it. Just mess with everybody. And then if there's an S sound on there, you need something to separate. And it's a peg vowel, so then your vocal cords come on. So they stay on. So now, back to Klinken. So we're going to get into rules of Klinken, and then we're probably going to run out of time because we just did something totally different today. So there's a couple things. One is sometimes we write things in terms of consonants and vowels. When we're breaking down Tlingit, and we're talking about this 3rd language, which is the language of Tlingit linguistics, which we're going to do a little bit this semester. I think it helps to internalize different rules. So you're going to see things in terms of the letter C or the letter V sometimes for consonant and vowel. And these are important. So a word can be open or closed. Like when I'm over there and I'm learning Hawaiian, they don't like closed words. Right? So car becomes ka. Right? And then there's other, when they borrow words, they find ways to open it up a bit. Right? So if they borrow the word cat, you might say kata or something like that. So it ends with a vowel. Clink it can end with a vowel, can end with a consonant. But it matters when it comes to adding a suffix. So the first thing we're going to learn is a possessive suffix. And there are rules to the possessive suffix. And so let me just get to that because it's fun. There's plural and there's other stuff. Where's my possessive marker? Hold on. Okay. So you're going to get one of 4 possible endings in Klinken. You're going to get an I, or a YI, or a U, or a WU. I, Y, U, or W. There are a number of rules to consider when you're looking at possessing something. The easiest example is something that is not rounded and that is closed. Like everybody say keys,
Keys.
keys,
Keys.
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 And we've learned some of these possessive pronouns already. So looking up on this screen, we'll just go through all of these. Achkisi,
Akisi.
hakisi,
Hakisi.
ekisi,
Ekisi.
yikisi,
Yekisi.
dukisi,
Dukisi.
akisi,
Akisi.
hastukisi,
Hastukisi.
kakisi,
Kahisi.
atkisi.
Atkisi.
So this is how, like, a combination of a pronoun and a suffix. I think we're going to run out of time, and I think we've done a little bit too much of the rule stuff. But I'm going to show you these rules next week on how to make a possessive, and we'll just run through lesson 1, and we'll just make some things, we'll just possess them. You can choose your own pronoun, and we'll talk about what the ending should be. Okay, guy? Okay. All right. About 6:47. We're gonna be done at 7 o'clock. Probably actually a few minutes before. So I just want to do a couple of lines from our story. I'll say the line. You repeat it. We left off on page 2, line 22. The last line we read was Achdachi Yikchut. Do you see the possessive marker in there? Dach, achdachi. The other fun thing about the possessive suffix, it is always, let's just say it's always, and I'll tell you the exception later. It is always the opposite of the tone before it. And this is how Tlingit suffixes work. If the suffix itself is open, it is always the opposite of the tone before it. If the suffix is closed, it is always high tone. Those are the rules. Tlingit's just got tons of rules. Rules all over. Okay. Okay, I'll say the whole sentence, then I'll break it down in little chunks. We'll all say it together. Ayukde wugude awete dukak dukakduk. Kay ayukde wugude.
Kayikde wugude.
Kay ayukde wugude.
Kayikde wugude.
Awete dukak. Wait, I gotta write this down here. I'm not gonna see it. Awete dukak the talk. So we'll say awete do. Cock the talk. Cock the talk. Cock the cock. There's another very fun consonant combination. Okay. Anything you guys can figure out? Wugut. Das await lekachena.
Go somewhere by walking.
He or she walked.
Is that repetitive? The final underlined X?
Yes, the final underline X is repetitive. So, and now you're talking about at the end of kak de tug. Yep. There's a repetitive suffix on a verb. It means to do something repeatedly.
Is yikde going in it?
Yeah, a yikde wugut. That's saying he or she went in it. A canoe, a car, the forest, the road, something that's open to the sky, some shallow container, a puddle, right? A yikde wugut. So whenever you have motion verbs, you usually have something right before it that tells you the type of motion. Towards, from, over, under, around, through. Okay, so now we've got that part. Das so we kle kach inach. When or then at that time. So then he went into it. Away kle du kach de tug. So away kle. Then
He.
du kach de tug.
Does that have to do with the flat?
So there's that. So you would have, if you said du ka or du cut, du kach,
Upon it?
yeah, on him, right? And we're going to learn how some of these work, right? Because you could say, tu hakat wa'a. That's a way to say good morning to people in Clink. It means it has dawned on us again. Tu hakat wa'a. You could say, it's raining on me, right? And so you get a possessive pronoun before it, and then you get the ka business. And that's kind of causing a bit of contraction in the verb itself, cut the tuch. Any guesses?
Just the verb.
Is that to, like, bite?
Tuch is to bite. And then it bit him. It clamped down on him. When he had gotten in, then it clamped down on him. Okay, again? Cha-a-chak we-du-kesk. So everybody repeat after me. We'll do the first part. Cha-a-chak we-du-kesk. What can you figure out there?
He beats him up.
Yeah, well, you got a juk. A juk would be a repetitive verb to say to kill someone repeatedly, like
Every time, yeah.
not quite every time,
Like
but
intense?
regularly, right?
It is.
Like if, for example, a juk away, he kills spiders. That doesn't mean every single time he sees a spider, he kills it. But this means he does it regularly,
Yeah, like.
which he should never do. We had a conversation about this. Wait to case
Maternal nephews.
his maternal nephews. He kills that nephew of his. Kills that nephew of his. But what this, when you read it like this, though, this is telling you this is the way he has killed his nephews before. And you got to know the story to unpack some of this stuff. Or other times it becomes obvious, but because you've got a repetitive form of the verb, it means this isn't the first time, right? Like if you say, yeah, he smokes cigarettes, it means he's not having his first cigarette. This is something that happens, right? This or this is just emphasizing, we get this focus particle at the end, which means this is the one who's doing this kind of stuff. We got a line break there. Okay, we didn't do any review stuff. We did fun stuff anyways. Any questions? We're going to have to wrap up here in a minute. We've got the film. I sent you guys the link to view it yourselves. We'll talk about this film on Tuesday. Is it relevant to what we're trying to do? We might have a few short conversations on language revitalization, state of the Tlingit language, and so on. And then we'll move back into our sort of more scheduled review process, knock out a few more lines. We'll talk about the words you guys have all selected and sent to me in an awesome, timely manner, without any spelling errors. You're not committed to learning these in a sentence or a context necessarily yet. You're just committing to memorizing this additional information. But we will start talking about how these things function. The key to language fluency is figuring out all these pieces. How do they actually interact with each other? How do you make them dynamic? Adverbs and adjectives are part of it, and then conjugating verbs for person and switching verb modes for situations. Like, I will tell you, I won't tell you, I didn't tell you, if I tell you, there's no way I could tell you, I always tell you, I tell you on a regular basis, and so on and so forth. Right? And so we'll look at, throughout the course of the semester and the year, how Tlingit takes care of that business. And I think, hopefully at the end of this year, if you went and you saw something happen, like if you drove and you saw a porcupine and you pulled over and you spoke to him in Tlingit and he stood up and nodded at you and then he walked away, you would be able to tell me something like that in Tlingit. You should be able to tell me stuff like that. You should be able to start speculating on things that you think are going to happen. You should be able to describe a lot of things that you see in the world, and you should be able to talk about your feelings, modern sort of Donald Trump, right? And you should be able to answer that question and others, right? And we should be able to talk about all kinds of things, right? Yay, that's the correct answer. But it depends on who. Maybe you watched you say, no, wait, Donald Trump. It's okay. Medusa. And so we won't make fun of him too much in here, but he's just such a radical figure. Anyways, let me know if you guys got any questions over the weekend via email. We're going to run over, we're going to check out this film. It's a lot of fun having you guys here. Cheesh.
Can we choose from the list of adverbs, or should we avoid them since we went over them?
No, you can. Those are fair game. The only thing I would ask is not to pick the nouns that we're studying in the beginning. Everything else is fair game.